Human mind and potential coupled with technology made it possible to recreate the same conditions to create diamonds in laboratory. Today, lab-grown diamonds have become talk of the industry with biggest of the players becoming a part of this revolution. Indian market alone is estimated to be around 2,200 to 2,500 worth of crores, and business worth 5,000 crores was created during the IIJ show couple of months back. To what extent the market will grow? Will lab-grown diamonds be a part of every household? Are lab-grown diamonds really durable and valuable? To answer all these questions and much more, we have this personality here to answer all our unanswered questions. He is a former director of De Beers and is a strategist and an industry expert. Over the last 27 years of marketing in the gems and jewelry field, he has introduced some of the most named brands like Nakshatra, Asmi, Arisha, Sangini, Anant, and most recently being Human Jewelry. With the very first brand Nakshatra, it created a major revolution in the industry and opened diamonds as a category in the minds of Indian women. Most importantly, he has a track record of innovation, clear strategic thinking, meticulous planning, and knack for building businesses and brands in tune with the future. He has a 3-year run and as a co-chairman of FICCI, Gems and Jewelry Sector, and is currently the member of the CII Task Force. The industry has immensely benefited from his wealth of knowledge and expertise. And without much ado, let me call upon this personality on the stage, Mr. Dr. Prasad Kapre. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you, Ashok, and good afternoon. Lab-grown diamonds has a lot of myth and mystery around it, and I know there are a lot of people who see it as a threat or they actually see it as an opportunity. I personally feel it's a great opportunity for a number of reasons, and of course I'll be explaining those reasons why I see this as an opportunity and why this is the right time to get into it. So lab-grown actually, from an India market perspective, if you see it, the total acquisition of diamonds in the country at the moment is just about 4%. 4% of your potential target audience actually end up buying diamonds in a year. That means 96% are not buying it. And why aren't they buying it? It's purely the affordability factor, right? The sweet spot for any Indian at the moment is at about 30,000 rupees, right? And since they don't, and if at all they have to buy diamond jewelry, it goes to almost 70,000 rupees. So that jump from 30 to 70 is something really difficult for them to go ahead and do it. So that's why actually the moment you introduce lab-grown diamonds, and if you tell them that by stretching your budget from 30,000 to 40,000, which is possible for them to do it, you might even get a half a carat of solitaire. And I think that's what suddenly changes their perception. And that's where I see this as a big opportunity for getting into the middle class segment and more in the solitaire category. And there are a number of opportunities, especially in our Indian market as well. And that's what I'm going to take you through. But let's start with our video.
Year 2040, 70% of the young millennials adore lab-grown diamonds. Year 2035, lab-grown diamond sales contributes over 50% of retail jewelry sales. Year 2030, lab-grown diamond found in every leading store in India. Year 2025, every woman walking into jewelry outlet wants a lab-grown diamond. Year 2023, awareness of lab-grown diamonds scales new heights. The future is here, and here is the beginning. Demand for lab-grown diamonds picks up in India.
where if the machines are in India, we can grow the diamonds in India.
खुद से मशीन बनवाओ ना 10 पे। अब श्रीनिवासन क्यों ये मशीन नहीं लगा सकता बताइए?
बोलो श्रीनिवासन, आप ही बताओ।
कितने की मशीन है ये? एक लगाएगा, कितने लगा सकते?
श्रीनिवासन सबके लिए लगा लो।
नहीं, कल्याण ज्वेलर क्यों नहीं लगा सकता? रिलायंस का एक बंदा था यहाँ पे,
ये रहा ना।
मशीन लगा सकता है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? बोलो कितनी लगाओगे मशीन्स लैब ग्रोन डायमंड्स की? I think it will become a middle class fancy. If it becomes a middle class fancy, sky is the limit in the potential. So please, we must get into Atmanirbhar Bharat, that particular project, because it does show some promise.
India is the world's largest grower of CVD diamonds. Indian exports of lab-grown diamonds growing at 87% year on year. 410 million young Indians prefer eco-friendly and sustainable product. It's your chance to grab the opportunity. Lab-grown diamonds, the future is here.
Okay, this is a report of Economic Times, and it very clearly says that the demand for lab-grown diamonds is continuously increasing in India, and the current, as per this article, the growth rate is at 57%. And mind you, lab-grown diamonds is the largest growth sector in terms of the gem category. So it is the fastest growing gem category stone. So this is the big opportunity. Recently, again, Piyush Goyal actually met all these growers, and very clearly he tweeted about the fact that it is a growing opportunity. It is a sector which is going to grow at much faster pace than any other sector. The government has been promoting this and actually supporting this in a big way, to the extent that they have recently announced a PLI scheme for 1,97,000 crore, right, for toys, lab-made gems and bicycles, of which these lab-made gems is about 60%, so it's close to about 1.2 lakh crores. So that is what the government is announcing. The final scheme is going to be, as per their latest report, it will be out on 30th of September, where they'll give you all the details of how people can actually benefit from this scheme and how more and more people can get into the lab-grown diamonds category. So I'm going to quickly take you through what today's consumers think about lab-grown diamonds and how they are changing, and also about when, what, how of lab-grown diamonds. See, over the years, actually, the consumers have been changing rapidly, and their way of thinking is changing rapidly. In the 1950s, when there was an industrial revolution, people took up a job just for survival, and they were paid very meager salary. I mean, people would get 200 rupees, 300 rupees, but yet they would continue in the job for 30 years, 40 years, in spite of the fact that they may have abusive boss, but still they actually wanted to continue. Just it was a question of their survival, their and their families. So they continued actually in the same job. Then came the information technology revolution and internet revolution, and that's where the consumers changed. It wasn't about just the survival. Now they said, I want to have a good standard of living. I want my own house, I want to have my own car, and that's the shift that happens in the late 70s or early 80s. And then now, in the late 90s or early 2000, came the revolution of social and digital revolution, which is all about quality of living. So from standard of living, they have moved towards quality of living, where they want to experience life and experience different destinations. They don't want to have assets at all. They don't believe in owning a house. They don't believe in actually owning a car. But they're definitely believing in experiencing life. And for that, what they also believe is that they need to save their planet. So they believe in economic or eco-friendly products, and this is exactly where the lab-grown diamonds fit in very well. So what are lab-grown diamonds? So lab-grown diamonds are chemically, physically, and optically identical to mined diamonds. This has been certified by the director of GIA and FTC, which is the apex body in the world which takes care of the diamond industry. And there are two types of processes through which you can actually grow these diamonds. The first one is chemical vapor deposition, or CVD. And the second is the high pressure and high temperature, which is the HPHT. So what's the difference between the two? If I talk about CVDs, basically CVD is more advanced technology than HPHT. It's largely developed in India, and the beauty about this technology is that it just recreates the entire process of growing diamonds. Whatever happens below the earth, that is in the natural diamonds, the same process is recreated in a plasma reactor. So whatever happens below the earth is now happening above the earth. There's no other change. Just to give you an analogy, you know, when perhaps you need a drink in your, you need your ice cubes in your drink, how much ever you may say that I want natural and I want organic, you don't run to the Himalayas, to the glaciers to get the snow from there. You actually rush to your refrigerator and pull out those cubes, right? Which is, you have grown it. It's almost exactly the same process. You are actually growing the diamond layer by layer. The environment is created. There is no other human element involved. And that's where you are just recreating whatever happens below the earth is happening above the earth. The second good thing is, because it is pure carbon, by this technology what you get is a pure carbon. And when you're getting a pure carbon, it has the type 2A certification because it's the purest form of carbon. Now Kohinoor has that. So in natural diamonds or mined diamonds, you have less than 2% of these diamonds actually getting a type 2A certification. Whereas in CVD, all 100% diamonds get this type 2A certificate. That means they are purest form of carbon. And the type 2A certificate in consumer language means better brilliance, better fire, better radiance, you know, and that's what is the beauty about these CVDs. Of course, it attracts a premium over HPHT, a slight premium over HPHT because of its type 2A certification and also a better technology. And there is no mining involved. So obviously, because there is no mining, so that cost benefit is passed on to the consumers. So when you pass on that to the consumers, then obviously it's much cheaper. It's almost cheaper by, you know, 1/3. That is 65% cheaper at least. There are, of course, it's a basket of diamonds, so different sizes have different kind of pricing. But on an average, is about 65% cheaper than mined diamonds. And the only reason that it is cheaper is purely because there is no mining cost involved. Actually, if you come to think of it, what you're really paying for in a mined diamond is just the mining cost. Because finally, वो भगवान की देन है आपको. इंसान ने कुछ नहीं किया उसमें. So it's a God's gift to mankind, and whatever you're doing is just spending on the mining cost. So in this diamond, there is no mining cost, so it is passed on to the consumers. As far as HPHT is concerned, it's a process largely developed in China, and it has graphite and molten metal. There is an influx of this molten metal inside, and that's where it is not the purest form of carbon as compared to CVD, and so it doesn't get type 2A certification. Because of its purest, because of its graphite and molten influx, it is said that you know, it's slightly brittle in nature, and so that's why most of the diamonds actually you see would be in the range. I mean, you'll get all the small diamonds, but the bigger sizes, it goes maximum up to 2 carats. It doesn't go beyond. Very rarely you will find bigger diamonds in HPHT, whereas in CVDs today, I've been told it has reached up to 17 carats. So that's the big difference. And again, in this, there is no mining involved, so obviously it's cheaper than the mined diamonds. The question is, how are these grown? So there is a 2-minute video that I would like to take you through to make it understand.
CVD diamonds, named after its process, chemical vapor deposition, undergo the same process as natural diamonds. It all starts with a diamond seed. A thin layer is cut from the natural diamond to form the CVD diamond seed. This seed is a type 2A seed, the purest form of diamond, 100% carbon. The seed is then polished and prepared to a required thickness for it to be placed in the CVD plasma reactor. Once placed in the reactor, the process begins, exactly the same as found under the surface of the earth. An intense environment of the temperature and pressure is created just like that found in the earth. When the diamond is growing in a natural environment, several other impurities like nitrogen and boron enter the diamond formation along with the gases. CVD process is controlled and doesn't allow any impurities to enter the diamond. Carbon particles slowly start disintegrating and forming layers on top of the diamond seed. The result is a rough CVD diamond, the same as a natural diamond, only purer. The diamonds are then removed with precision, and the cutting process begins. And they are the same. CVD diamonds have the same physical, chemical, and optical properties as the natural diamond. The guarantee of quality, the beauty of nature. A diamond deserves to be perfect.
So it's only the growing process which is different, otherwise cutting and polishing and every other process remains exactly the same like the mined diamonds. So there is no difference whatsoever between a mined diamond and a lab-grown diamonds. It is just the terminology which is used as lab-grown, which I personally feel it's so to say non-glamorous from a consumer perspective, and I tend to call these as new age diamonds for the new age consumers. So the question is there a difference? You know, well, actually you take it on any parameters, any properties, whether it's chemicals, reflective, relative diversity, color diffusion, hardness, thermal conductivity, thermal expansion, transparency, resistivity, compressibility. On every parameter, the last column, if you notice, it says there is absolutely no difference. So the question is, why is everyone willing to pay for the natural diamonds when you can get the same thing much cheaper? And that's where the opportunity lies, because India being always a price sensitive market, that's point number one. Even worldwide today, because of the recession which is happening, in fact, yesterday's Times of India carried a half-a-page article on this, that how the exports from India are growing dramatically is also because of the recession in the US and the European markets, which is where people can't afford the natural diamonds anymore. So they are actually switching over to lab-grown diamonds. So this is where I keep saying that this is the right time to actually get into this category, whether you want to do it for the domestic market or whether you want to actually get into the exports. So basically there is no difference between the two. So the only difference, if there is one, is origin. As I said, mined diamonds is all below the earth, lab-grown diamonds is above the earth. That's the only difference, because it's the same environment which is created above the earth in a plasma reactor. As far as, of course, the other difference being the pricing, as I said, in the mined diamonds, you are actually paying only for the mining cost. You're not paying really so much for the diamond. And here you are actually paying for the diamond, right? So where are these lab-grown diamonds grown? As per Bain & Company, and this is slightly dated, this is of 2021, and the total production was about 7 million carat. The latest report says it's about 15 million carats. It's already doubled. right, worldwide. As per this, India is the largest producer of CVD. So out of the 7 million carats, it's about 1.5 million carats of CVD diamonds produced in India. The major producer, of course, is China with 3 million carats of HPHD diamonds. So China definitely has an edge over it, but the fact still remains that they are into the older technology and HPHD technology. They are still not into CVDs. Though of course they are now making inroads into it also. And then it is followed by Russians and Europe and US and some in Singapore as well. So at the moment, the total production is only 7 million, but it's rapidly growing. As per Paul Zimnisky, these are the reports, and basically Indians are going to be, by 2025, they're going to have 20% of world's production. So at the moment they're at 15%. They are accelerating this further, and Indians are going to have, on an average, about 20% of world production, and that's what it says. So Indian technology and the CVD are going to grow rapidly. In terms of the potential, now this is a very interesting slide. If you actually see, this is the slide on rough diamonds availability, the demand for rough diamonds and the supply for rough diamond, not the polished. Please mind that. And actually, if you see, it says in 2022, there was going to be a production of mined diamonds for 137 million carats. The fact of the matter is, it has come down dramatically to 116 million carats. So today, the total production of mined diamonds is only 116 million carats, which they were expecting it in 2026. And the reason being that Argyle mine actually got exhausted or depleted much ahead of its time, and it got shut in 2020. Mir mines got shut in 2021. There is another mine in Russia which is going to shut in 2022. So what is happening is most of these mines are getting depleted, and the supply is getting rarer and rarer and much lesser and lesser. And keeping that in mind, so already there is going to be a big gap. By 2030, if you see, in just next 8 years, the total gap is going to be of 159 million carats. So there is going to be a huge gap between demand and supply. And whatever number of machines, at the moment it is said, nobody has the exact count, but it is said that there are only 10,000 machines in the world producing lab-grown diamonds. And if I say, if I have to get this 159 million carats of diamonds produced, I'll need almost about 1 lakh machine, and it's not going to be easy for anybody to actually pump in that kind of a money and put in that many machines. So that's the bigger challenge. So the fact of the matter remains that the demand will always outstrip the supply, and in the bargain, that big gap will always remain. Even at when it says 159 million carats of required is the total gap. The total production of lab-grown by 2030 is expected to be only 60 million in rough. So still miles to go. So that means still 100 million will be the gap. So as we said, a diamond is forever, but not the diamond mines, right? So diamond mines are definitely depleting. They are definitely shutting down. As I mentioned, Argyle mine did close down in 2020, much ahead of its time. They were expecting it to shut it down in 2024, and finally they had to shut it down in 2020. Similarly, actually, if you see, if you see the annual production, as I was telling you, it's all coming down. If you see all the mines, whether it's Petra Diamonds, Rio Tinto, De Beers, Alrosa, except Alrosa, all are in negative, -5, -18, -10. So that's the way all these mines are getting depleted, and Alrosa is the only one which is at +5%. But the fact of the matter is that with the ongoing Russian war, even Alrosa is banned, and they cannot supply this natural diamonds anywhere across the world. If you see, look at the other mines as well, right? Now, all these mines are actually going to shut down over a period of time, right from 2043 to 44 to 64. By 2085, the total production will come down to actually hardly 5 million carats of mined diamonds. And your demand is going to be for 298 million carats. So that means your natural diamonds are not going to be available anymore. But also what it means is that the natural diamond pricing will shoot up beyond imagination, which is already happening. In the last year, you must have seen the prices going up, right? And that is going to continue to happen. That's my guess. And that's the way it will go up. And even the lab-grown diamonds, because they won't be able to meet the supply to the extent the current demand is. So even those prices will gradually start moving up. It has at the moment bottomed out. So coming to the future of lab-grown diamonds, as I said, by 2026, there is going to be 10 million carats of polished gold to be consumed, which will be 30 million in rough. Similarly, in 2030, it will be 20 million, which will still be only 6 million. The gap is for 159 million. So still there is going to be enough requirement. India's contribution is going to be 20% of the world production, which will move from 12 million, which will move to 12 million from current, which is minuscule. So in terms of value terms, if you actually see, the growth in just next 5 years is expected to be 550%. So that's a phenomenal growth in value terms, and in volume terms, it's about 400%. So that's the dramatic growth which is going to happen. So another reason that this is the right time to get into this category, if at all you're thinking of getting into lab-grown diamonds. If you see the other reports as well, so the markets are going to double by 2025. At the moment, it is at about $2 billion, the world market, which is going to move to about $4 billion in the next 3 years. So in just 3 years, markets are going to double. So again, a reason to be in it now. In terms of the margin analysis, though of course this is based on the US market, but nonetheless you can corroborate with the Indian markets here. The margins on these diamonds is as high as 55% plus, you know, and that's where the beauty is. The consumer, there is no resistance at the consumer level. Consumers are very happy to buy these the moment they know this is exactly the same as the natural diamond and there is no difference. A human eye cannot actually detect it. So they are more than happy to actually get into it and buy these diamonds. And that's where, as a retailer, you make that kind of margins, you know, so there are huge margins as compared to the mined diamonds. In terms of our exports, if you actually see in 2021, it's already close to 10,000 crores, right? And it has been doubling almost every year. And this year, between April to August, it has already reached 6,000 crores, okay, in just 5 months. The exports of the total 10,000 that we did last year. So this year it is expected to do almost $2 billion or 1,500 crores. So that's the, again, rapid growth even in the export markets. Well, what is happening in the domestic market? The question is, will the Indian consumers really accept it? There has been a 2021 report of De Beers, which is the Diamond Insight report. They come up with this every year. And if you actually, the 22 report is yet to come out. So I'm referring to this last year's 2021 report, and which says sustainability shaping the future of diamond sector. So sustainability is going to be one of the big factors. But what surprised me is the fact that social responsibility is becoming a defining factor in luxury. When they ask the question, I care that the brands I buy are ethically responsible. Look at India, 76% of the respondents actually said that they want ethically responsible products. It's not necessarily only about diamonds, but anything which is ethically responsible. The young millennials and the Generation Z are more than happy to actually buy those products. And 76% even above US. So which is huge. And what is even more surprising is, I would pay more for an eco-friendly and sustainable brand. The word more is actually very, very important here. And there again, if you see, India, 87% of these youngsters actually said they are even willing to pay more just because it's eco-friendly. And that's where again the lab-grown diamonds fit in so well that this is the category we all need to be in. And compared to the next to India is US, there is a huge gap of 17%. I mean, we all think that the US, guys always think about the, environment changes. It's the young Indians who are actually talking about environment changes. They are talking about their carbon footprints. They're looking into how they can get into eco-friendly products. And lab-grown is bang on. And now that you understand what lab-created diamonds are, what do you think of them? So this was again another question which was asked to these respondents. And what was very interesting is they obviously want to know more, but more than that, they also would like to see them in person. It's just out of curiosity. So when they want to see them in person, obviously you need to stock it in your stores and in your retail outlets, because soon as the awareness builds up, these consumers are going to walk into your stores, and if you're not into this category, they may start rejecting you as a retailer. So this is, again, one of the reasons that you have to get into it now. And what is the potential of it in India? Now, totally, this is a Wise Guy report of 2020. And, if you actually see, the total is about 15-20 million carats. But of which it's only 20% in jewelry. The rest is all in industrial markets. So that's the difference. So the jewelry market is only 20% at the moment, but that is close to about 2,300. Actually, let me talk about 2022. So if you see, it's about 2,490, and it's accelerating at 28% in India. This is the average which is being talked about. And when it's growing at that, it is already at almost 3,000 crores, which you may turn around and say a lot of our chain stores do much more turnover than this 3,000 crores, so what's the big deal? But gradually the way it's growing, because within next 3 years, it's going to grow over more than double. So it's going to be over 6,000 crores, 6,120 crores. So that's the growth rate. The diamond jewelry is growing hardly at 2%, the mined diamond jewelry. This is going to be growing at 28%. In the mined diamond jewelry, you hardly make maybe 30% in margins. Here you make 55% in margins. So there is a big difference which is happening. So why should a retailer actually introduce lab-grown diamonds? One is it's an incremental business opportunity. Very clearly, it's another new segment that you are getting into. So it is an incremental business opportunity. As I mentioned, there are higher returns, so obviously your return on investment is going to be really high. That's another reason. It is going to attract the new consumer segment. If you must have noticed, most of the retailers would vouch for it, that at the moment, the people who are buying diamond jewelry are usually 35 or 40 years plus. They are not the younger people who are actually walking in and asking for diamonds. They end up buying maybe gold because they can afford that. But today, with this affordability factor, what's going to happen is that you're going to get people to upgrade themselves from buying plain gold jewelry to lab-grown diamond jewelry. And that's going to be a big shift. And that's a major chunk. As I said, 96% of the potential audience end up buying gold jewelry purely because they cannot afford the mined diamonds. With the lab-grown diamonds, they would be able to afford it, and they'll all jump. So imagine that 96% of 27 million women that I'm talking about in the top 23 towns. So there's a huge potential. Yeah. All the millennials and Generation Z, they at the moment may not be actually walking into the stores, but then they'll soon start asking for these lab-grown diamonds. And the fact is, if they are getting into your stores, the lifetime value is going to be much higher. And when I say lifetime value is when today, as I said, the women walking in is at least 40 plus asking for mined diamonds. So, and she generally buys for the next 15 to 20 years, maybe till the age of 60, and after that she stops buying jewelry in general and definitely diamonds because she's had enough of that. That's the analysis of the Indian market. And if you actually see, if the younger audience is going to come at the age of 25, so 25 to 60, which is almost 35 years, is what their lifetime value is going to be. So that's going to add a major segment for you. It is great for gifting. People gift gold coins or gold biscuits or whatever. Today they can actually start gifting lab-grown diamonds to their loved ones. Larger volume business as a new category, because obviously more new customers are going to walk in asking for these, so you have larger business. You have higher conversions, again because of its affordability factor, so more and more consumers would be happy buying these lab-grown diamonds, and there would be higher conversion happening. Improved ROI in terms of the average per square foot returns, because your stock turns will become better over a period of time, of course not from the day one, but definitely over a period of time. Once you actually create that awareness, once you build your own brand, I would always recommend to have a separate brand for this, which will differentiate from your mined diamonds. You can definitely have it under the same roof, but if you have a separate counter as a separate brand, it works really well. You obviously will be seen as the visionary jeweler, because one big thing about the gems and jewelry industry is the trust and confidence a retailer builds with his audience, which is with his consumers. And that happens only when you can give them enough knowledge, and knowledge which they are happy to flash it around in their cocktail circuit, where they want to say that they're more knowledgeable. And as long as you can impart that knowledge to your consumers, you will be seen as a visionary jeweler. And of course, better value for both for the consumers, because they can actually double the size. Those who are already buying diamonds from you, they'll come in to buy double the size. So instead of buying a 1 carat, they may start asking for 2 carats or maybe even 3 carats, and it is already happening. So it's not a myth. It is definitely people go for double the size or half the price. When I say half the price, is more from the perspective of converting the gold buyers into diamond jewelry buyers, because now it is available at half the price, so why not? So that's the big difference. And finally, of course, the lower finance cost. Today, most of the retailers are reeling under bank loans and under financial pressures, thanks to COVID, and that's what really happened over the last 2.5 years. But with lab-grown diamonds, your total finance cost reduces dramatically, because your inventory carrying cost will come down almost by half, and that's going to be a added revenue for you. So when is the right time? Today, the Indian market is at 3,000 crores, and it is soon going to, in next 3 years, it will go to 6,000 crores. So it is going to double in next 3 years. So this is absolutely the right time. Also, it is the right time because the world retailers across the world, they have witnessed in 18 months, when the total sales of lab-grown diamonds of the total diamond industry was only 2%, it has now moved to 6%. So when it moves to 6%, that means there is a dramatic growth of 300% growth in just 18 months. And this is what the world has witnessed. And this is exactly what is going to and likely to happen in the domestic market. So the time is now. So who are the visionaries who actually started off in the world? First and the foremost is De Beers. And De Beers, though as of now may say that we are trying, this is more for fashion jewelry and for the fine jewelry to the mined diamonds. But the fact of the matter is, even their mines are depleting. Their mines are going to shut down over a period of time, maybe in next 25 years, 30 years. No new explorations are being allowed by the government across the world, purely because of the environment issues, because of the deforestation it does, because of the displacement of soil that one has to go through. So no government is actually allowing any more explorations for any kind of mining. Forget only just diamond mining. Even coal mining, you must have already heard about it. But coal, you have to do it because there are no alternatives. Whereas in this, you have the alternative of lab-grown diamonds. Then you have Pandora, right? Pandora has completely removed their mined diamond category, and they are totally into lab-grown diamond jewelry now. Damas in Middle East has introduced a brand called Gyan, and they seems to be doing very well, and more retailers across Middle East are getting into these lab-grown diamonds. And then of course you have Walmart, Macy's, Zales, and you name it, and they're there. Those are the so-called leaders of the world market. Coming home, that is in the Indian domestic market, we have brands like Limelight, Fiona, Nitya, Vandals, Wonder, Lumex, One Glass Shoe, Real Illusion, Alta. So I mean, these are various different brands which are already there. There are many new brands which have come in. Carbon Facet is just one new brand I just heard about. So I'm glad I've got some more knowledge today. Perhaps in my next presentation, I'll add Carbon Facets as well. So you know, more and more brands are coming in. The fact of the matter is, it's not alone De Beers alone who has actually jumped into it, but even the site holders. Lumex is a brand of Rosy Blue, one of the largest site holders, right? One Glass Shoe is another site holder, Lakshmi Diamonds, not the one which is the Bangalore one, but the one which is there in Mumbai. So they are one of the largest site holders again, and they have entered into this segment. Then you have Real Illusion, which is M. Suresh. So all these site holders have also jumped into it already. So it's time that we retailers actually get into it and make the most of it. So the De Beers report very clearly talks about, you know, by 2030 it is going to go to 20 million carats. But as I said, that the total requirement is way above all this, and it is going to be at 159 million carats, the gap, and that's where, you know, the prices are unlikely to come down any further. At the moment, I personally feel it's totally bottomed out, and from here onwards it's going to grow. Already, if you actually look at the stars and melee, anything in fact less than 15 cents, if you see that category, the prices have gone up by 32% over the last 6 months, by 32%. So there is already the price rise which has started happening. So again, as per the De Beers report, it is the sustainability and ethical consumerism are likely to be considerations of growing improved midstream as consumers become more environmental and socially conscious. So this is my analysis, which says, I mean, I'm talking about almost 2040, you know, maybe about 18, 20 years from today, when the lab-grown diamond market really matures. What's the likeliest scenario? First of all, there will be a consistent supply. Today, if you want even 1,000 carats of 1 carater in maybe VVS and F color, it's going to be very difficult for you to find them, right? The fact of the matter is that there are so many different growers already in the market, but still we can't meet the demand. And so even 1,000 stones or 1 caraters in VVS F color it is a big challenge. But by 2040, you will have a consistent supply of that. There is going to be a standard superior quality. And when I say standard superior quality, in the sense that everything would be in the range of VS plus and maybe G color and plus. It is likely to move towards that because that's what even the consumer is happy about. So that's what is going to fetch the premiums. Brands and proprietary value proposition is going to be in for sure. And that's what is going to also stop the brand or the price wars. So brand proposition and brand positioning will actually fetch you the premium. It's like the Rolex watch. Watch is a watch is a watch. But nonetheless, the moment you flash a Rolex watch, you have a different feeling. It's only purely because that the whole brand positioning is very different. So brands always fetch you the premium. So today, even if the prices have bottomed out, from here onwards, if you really position your brand well, it is going to grow dramatically. And that's what is going to fetch you the premiums. And when I say proprietary value proposition, the proprietary value proposition is likely to be in the diamond itself. And by that, what I mean is what De Beers is trying to do with Forever Mark in Mined Diamonds. Or what, even better example is what Swarovski managed to do in CZ category, you know, and where Swarovski actually commands a premium. A similar thing is going to happen in the diamond category, and that what's again most likely India will take that lead in that, and that's where you know, and it can be in terms of the carbon footprint. The beauty about lab-grown diamonds is that you can control the carbon footprint. Today, methane is being used, which is a fossil fuel. Tomorrow, already, bio-waste is going to be used to produce that methane, and actually it will be a non-fossil fuel. And the moment you have a non-fossil fuel, it will be it will have less emission of carbon, and because it's going to be less emission of carbon, your carbon footprints are going to be much better than lab-grown than mined diamonds. And I think that's where you can actually brand them and give those carbon neutral stones or even carbon negative stones, and that's what we can achieve, which the mined diamonds cannot. And that's what is again going to happen, and that's what is going to bring that premium to this category. And finally, of course, you'll have custom shapes and colors and sizes. So that's going to be the future. In terms of the frequently asked questions, which I have jotted down, but feel free to ask any other questions that come to your mind. The first is, of course, will supply outstrip demand? Not for the next 20 years. Definitely not. And as I said, because the gap between the demand and supply is so wide that it's not really going to happen. And if that is not going to happen, even the prices are likely to be more stabilized now than what had happened over the last 1.5 years. Again, it's easier said than done. The fact of the matter is, when you put up even a plant, or let's say even a single machine, by the time you calibrate and start getting a consistent supply, it takes anywhere between 18 months to 24 months. 1.5 से 2 साल आपको लग जाएगा to get actually the consistent supply, which is not going to be so easy. So that's one. Second is, even if you have tons of money to have the machines and buy them and put up a plant, where are you going to find the scientist? And as I said, if the gap is for 159 million carats, and if I need 100,000, 1 lakh machines, when there are hardly 10,000 across the world at the moment, so 10 times more machine means maybe 100 times more scientists that I'm going to need. And there are just no scientists available. There are only chemical engineers from UDCT which are being actually employed at the moment. But having said that, also the fact of the matter is IIT Chennai has already jumped into it. They have already produced the machines. The plasma reactors are now being made by IIT Chennai. They also have a separate division where they are developing these, or rather educating and training these engineers to jump into these lab-grown diamonds. So there are going to be these IIT engineers who will be actually coming into it. And so, so there would be those, but yet, as I said, the demand being much higher, the prices may not come down. Should lab-grown and natural be under the same roof? See, finally, it's the retailer's call or the wholesaler's call. I personally feel there is no harm. In fact, the moment you have that, as I mentioned earlier, it is a new category. It is an incremental business for you, and consumers who otherwise can't afford diamonds will actually, and you can keep this counter next to the gold counter. You don't have to keep it next to the diamond counter. And for if anybody is interested in mined diamonds, you can always take them to that mined diamond counter. But converting your gold guys into diamonds will be much easier the moment you have it under the same roof next to maybe gold, and that becomes easier for the conversion. And is there a resale value for lab-grown diamonds? Yes, I mean 100%. हमारे जैसे कंट्री में जहाँ रद्दी की भी वैल्यू है, आपके कल के न्यूज़पेपर की भी वैल्यू है, आपके so the fact of the matter is definitely there is a resale value. And finally, these are diamonds, so it's not as if they don't have a resale value. Definitely they have a resale value. Every retailer, the way they have a buyback guarantee that they provide to the consumers on their mined diamonds, you can actually give them the same guarantee on the lab-grown diamonds as well, because here the merchandising, your inventory management, your stock turns is what is going to actually govern all this. So if you have enough, the correct merchandise and you have the correct inventory management, overall inventory management, you will have a better stock turn. At the moment, it is said that a consumer walks into your store, once he has bought diamond jewelry, he's going to walk in again after 18 months for diamond jewelry. Whereas for gold jewelry, he's likely to walk in after 5 to 6 months. So that means the stock turns in your diamonds is in the range of about 1.5 to about 2 turns in a year at best. Only the top guys are actually doing 2 turns. Whereas in gold, the range is anywhere between 2.5 turns to almost 7 turns in gold. So I see that kind of turns happening in lab-grown diamonds. Already, I'm already working with some of my clients who are into lab-grown diamonds, and we have already witnessed 2.5 turns in just last 18 months. And this is getting more accelerated, and we expect anywhere between 5 to 6 turns in a year, and that itself is actually going to give you better returns. And so the question of resale value, I mean, definitely there is a resale value, and as I said, अगर हम रद्दी बेच सकते हैं तो ये तो finally diamonds हैं, तो इसकी resale value है और रहेगी. Or in any case, if you have better stock turns, it really won't matter to you from a business perspective. So these are some of the questions. Is there anything that any question that you would like to ask? Anything that comes to your mind? Yes, please. Can we give her a mic?
Now we have the hall open for questions.
Do you rate lab-grown diamonds with cubic zircon?
Rate as in what? In price terms or?
No, how will you compare them?
You just can't compare. They're apple and oranges.
Okay.
It's like even moissanite. When moissanite came in, people started comparing it with diamonds. But moissanite is a moissanite. So, I mean, these are literally, you're comparing apple with oranges, which is
So would
just
you
not
call
done.
lab-grown diamonds superior to?
Oh, 100%. I mean, maybe 100 times, I should say.
And so do you think that the Indian market is a reflection of the world market? Like if India becomes more passionate about lab-grown diamonds, it will...
It's a question of creating awareness. Unfortunately, there's no De Beers there.
Yes.
Creating the awareness,
Educating the consumer.
Yes, educating the consumer is the most critical factor, which a lot of these associations have already started doing it. And also the fact that there are new exhibitions, like, I mean, even in this exhibition, you have a larger booth.
Yes.
They're just dedicated to lab-grown diamonds.
Swarovski pushed their these cubic zircons, I think, solitaires.
Yeah.
So that is a complete brand in itself. So we.
That's
need
right, but that was a brand in CZs.
Yeah. Yes.
Swarovski.
Yes.
Right. Of course, they also have their gemstones, but the one which you are talking about was purely in the CZ.
So we need a more intensive push in the consumer market for lab-grown diamonds.
Yes, it's purely the education to the consumers, that's all, because I have personally seen, I keep addressing consumer evenings, where I educate the consumers, and there is absolutely no resistance. And of course, when you do these consumer evenings, you have to make it more interesting from their perspective, because otherwise, if you get too technical, it gets boring.
Yes.
See, I mean, a simple thing like, you must be playing cards, right? Now, there is clubs, there is spades, there is, and then there is diamonds, and there is hearts, right? Now, why that is called a diamond? Right? Now, it's a simple thing which 95 or maybe 99% of consumers don't know why they are called diamonds. They're called diamonds because the octahedron shape is the shape of a rough diamond when it comes out of the mine.
Yes.
So for a mine diamond, it is in that octahedron shape. So that's why it's called diamond. And similarly, the hearts is called heart because it's a heart shape, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, so you have to give those sort of analogies and make them understand, and then eventually explain that finally it is, lab-grown diamond is like a test tube baby. I remember there is a lady who asked me, but you can't differentiate between a test tube baby and a natural baby. Yeah. Whereas in lab-grown, you can still differentiate. Yeah. I said that again is a myth, because we don't have the need to do this kind of a test on a test tube baby. Yes. So we don't actually test them whether that's test tube or natural. But actually you can identify even a natural versus test tube baby. So the science is advanced and it gives you advanced technology.
So in educating the consumers also, the natural diamonds have a head start of say maybe 100 years with the intensive advertisement that there is resale value. So as a as an uneducated consumer of diamonds, I would say, if I was presented natural diamond, I would say, okay, there is a resale value. But in lab-grown diamonds, I will not get that resale value back.
First of all, if you see the 100 years of advertising, I was part of De Beers for 14 years. Yes. I did Nakshatra, Asmi, Arisya, Sangini, all of that I have in my brainchild.
Yes.
And nowhere we or De Beers or any other company has ever promoted diamonds as an investment or as a resale value. Across the world, it is only in the Asian market and more so in Indian market that we give a resale and a buyback guarantee.
Yes.
Nowhere in the world actually people get that buyback guarantee. So it is our own doing, and that's what we are actually honestly paying for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, diamond should never be promoted, because finally it's the graph of, you know, the fluctuations will always be there. Now for the 2 years, because of the pandemic, all the mines were shut. Because all the mines were shut, there was no supply of rough diamonds, and that's why even the prices have gone up. That is also one of the reasons. So, you know, it's just pure supply and demand game. Whereas in gold, there has been a consistent production. Whereas in diamond, there hasn't been. And that's why diamonds have never been promoted as an investment value or a resale value. It's only in the Indian market. So it's up to the retailers whether they want to offer that or not. But I've heard enough, issues coming from the retailers saying that finally consumer to mangta hi hai, you know. So be it. If he's asking for it, give it to him.
So
He's not going to come back in any case.
Do you think the Indian market is ready for lab-grown diamonds? Is there a
200%. 200% it's ready. It's just that you need to create the awareness.
And are the manufacturers ready? Are the people ready to invest in manufacturing lab-grown diamonds?
Yeah, there are so many already there.
Thank you so much.
See, it's a question of, for driving the economies of scale, you need minimum of 20 machines, ideally. People at the moment are trying with 1 or 2 machines, trying to see if they can get a consistent, supply and consistent output. If they do get, then they are expanding further, you know. And that's the way it is happening. So there are enough manufacturers, there is enough exports, as I said, is already happening. In fact, the current growers are actually exporting anything and everything, whatever they are producing at the moment. So they are not even looking at the Indian market. But having said that, the Indian market has already grown. It is growing at 28%. In fact, the Indian report, the Economic Times report says 57%. It is growing at 57% year on year. You know, so that's a huge growth which is happening, of course, on a very small base. So you can't actually compare the two. But the fact of the matter is that there is enough demand coming in from the consumers, when the fact is that there is very little awareness. So the moment you actually build the awareness, so the demand will be really high. Any other question?
Thanks a lot, sir. As we are running short of time and we'll have to wrap this session as early as possible, I think after this session we can, you can meet him for some time. I think he'll be staying for some time here, and off the dais you can take it if you have a couple of questions. But since we are running too short of time, we will have to wind it up as of now. We'll make it.
So if anyone actually wants to be in touch with me, as far as branding is concerned, or marketing, or consumer evenings, or growing up your own, diamonds, I'm there to help you out. I have my team who can actually help you on this. And so my number is there. You can jot down the number and you can be in touch. Sorry, yeah.
Sir, I'm a retailer. Firstly, I would like to thank you. A beautiful explanation. You have given us a very thorough knowledge about all the insight about the CVD diamonds. I would like to ask more questions. I've not written down the points, but anyway, they are running short of time. Yeah. So I will come in touch with you, sir. Thank you very much. Sure. And thank you, JB, for hosting such a beautiful show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for such a wonderful session, sir. And I think within very short period of time, within few, I think half an hour to 45 minutes, the kind of insight which you have given about the industry is amazing. You have summed up so many years, future, past, present, within 45 minutes and given us as a package. And definitely people will start thinking of definitely investing in lab-grown diamonds, and as you said, test tube baby and a natural baby. It's all the same. Until unless the machine is there, it will not be able to identify. So basically, it's all the same, and I think with complete confidence, you can start lab-grown diamonds as far as you are able to disclose the lab-grown certification for the diamonds. Thanks a lot for such a wonderful session. And before we disperse, I would like to call Srinivas sir and our Secretary, Jewel Association, Ketan Bhai, to come over the stage and hand over token of love. We look forward for such sessions in future as well. Thank you.